Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everyone. It is great to see you here. Thanks for spending just a wee bit of your Sunday with this guy. Today we are getting into a German 24-hour combat ration. This is Type 8. This almost expired. We're getting in right before the deadline, and you know what? I've been waiting a while to do this one. I'm really interested to get into it. So if you guys appreciate the fact that I try to get the coolest rations to bring to you, you know what you can do to help out this guy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It is always good to hear from you crazy mother cluckers. So let's get in and see what is in a Type 8 German individual combat ration. I really like the boxed rations because in general they stop everything from getting the shit kicked out of it in shipping and transit. Really dig me a box. Wouldn't want to have to put it in a pack, but I guess you could just break it down at that point. Oh yeah. Having had several other German 24-hour rations, I'm really looking forward to this. So it looks like we got some drinks right off the bat. We've got some orange isotonic, and we have some lemon isotonic, which is really nice. Certainly won't be suffering for drinks. We have an exotic flavored isotonic as well as a grapefruit. We have all kinds of drinks going on. We have some spicy curry pork jerky. That's very interesting. I hope this doesn't turn out to be like just rock hard pork nuggets, but we'll definitely find out. And we have a small 35-gram bag of cookies. I kind of just want to bust right into these and start eating the cookies, but you know, it's morning. We don't want to start out with cookies. Whatever, we start out with rice pudding and all our kind of crazy shit. So we've got 2 chocolate bars, 2 25-gram chocolate bars. One of those might have to go on the breakfast tray. I don't know, I'm in a pretty good mood this morning. I haven't had my coffee yet, so making good decisions isn't on the menu right now. But we do have 2 25-gram bars of chocolate. Loving that. This is pretty crazy. This is definitely different from what I'm accustomed to seeing in a German ration. That's cool, though. We have 2 cranberry granola bars and 2 apple granola bars. I'm really hungry this morning for some reason. I'm ready just to tear into these and just start going to town. We have apple and cranberry energy or granola bars. And we have a dried fruit mix that is excellent. If there is a muesli or something in here, I think I'm going to have to add this dried fruit mix to it. But that's awesome. Really nice packaging. This is great. And we have an orange dessert cream. Just doing it right with orange. I just want to have all this shit for breakfast. Like, I just want some orange dessert cream, some chocolate bars, just whatever. Okay, so we have some orange dessert cream. Loving that. It looks like this is mainly a freeze-dried ration, which is pretty awesome. Here's your fruit muesli, which is excellent. We have some muesli for breakfast, 80 grams of that. Going to be getting into this here very shortly. Then we have this rice and curry sauce. There is some kind of meat in here. I haven't translated it yet. We're going to let that be a little surprise. We've got some meat and rice and curry sauce. Excellent. Hopefully Germany knows what they're doing with freeze-dried mains. I've had some wet German mains before. They were always pretty decent. So I'm hoping they rock out with the cock out when it comes to freeze-dried mains. Then we have some sesame bars. This is excellent. Love me some sesame bars. And then we have some beef stroganoff. Can't really complain about beef stroganoff, but, and yes, I said stroganoff, and I know I said stroganoff, and it's all good. But we have some beef stroganoff. There's another freeze-dried main for you. And we have our destruction sheet, which we do not need any destructions. We also have a pack of matches, which I've always liked the German rations, having this sealed pack of matches in this little Mylar bag. I love putting these in like emergency packs simply because it's a pack of matches and they're already sealed, so they're completely waterproof. This is an excellent idea. And that's everything in the box except for this accessory kit. So I love the Ziploc bag they put this in. It's a nice thick Ziploc bag with an actual zipper closure. That's amazeballs. Then we have a cappuccino, which is fucking awesome. We have some butt wipe. We'll definitely open this up and see what the Germans are rocking for butt wipe, but we get some individually wrapped waterproof butt wipe that will not get anything smushy or nasty on it, which is awesome. Then we get 2 packs of coffee as well as 2 packs of tea. And we have a big old shiny pack of gum. We'll get into that later, see what flavor it is. I'm feeling like it's going to be a mint or a peppermint. We have another butt wipe, although I'm feeling with all this food that they have in here, you'd probably need a hell of a lot more butt wipe, but 2 butt wipes. And we have an alcohol sanitizing wipe. And we have 2 packs of bouillon. That's soup, if y'all don't know what bouillon is. Oh, and look what else we have. We have coffee whitener. That's amazing. You see that? coffee whitener. Coffee whitener. All my European guys, or at least a couple of them that have been commenting that, over here in Europe, we don't. Yeah, you do. Here we go right here. Here's some coffee whitener. That's to add to that coffee. So you can have the Holy Trinity and make your coffee goddamn delicious in the morning. And we have 4 water purification tablets, certainly not lacking in the purification department. And we have 4 4-gram packs of sugar. And we have 2 packs of salt. So this type number 8 German ration looks like it would be more designed for a cold climate, given that all of the mains are freeze-dried. There's a whole bunch of really easy to eat, not really worried about freezing foods, a ton of drinks to stay hydrated, and you know what? It's just time for me to stop babbling and get some breakfast out onto a tray. Alright, we are back with some breakfast. So we have got that fruit muesli and that dried fruit mix. We have an apple and a cranberry granola bar. We have that cappuccino, orange isotonic beverage, a chocolate bar, because fuck it, that's why. And we have some regular old coffee cream and sugar. First thing we need to do is absolutely get this muesli rehydrated. So that is what I'm going to get to. And there is, unfortunately, no Ziploc on this thing. So we'll just have to roll it up a little bit. Just make it work. And that smells, well, kind of like not much, to be fair. Let's just get some water in it and see what we've got. And that looks pretty good. This ration does not have a utensil included, so we're going to bust out that Australian CR1M spoon. Why? Because we can, because I have one, and they're fun. So let's give that a nice stir, and before I leave that to its own devices to hydrate, let's get a look at this dried fruit mix. So we've got some bananas, papaya, raisins, look like some apple hunks in there possibly. There's some cranberries too, that's always good. We're gonna get approximately half, dump it right in the muesli, and let that do its thing along with the muesli. Let that all hydrate together and get yummy. And yes, that's nice and hot, burning the fingers. So we'll check the rest of that, what little I left of it. The rest of that dried fruit mix out. That's always good. And it is absolutely time to start out with this cappuccino and the coffee. That looks nice. Looks like we have some coffee and some cream in there. Hopefully the sugar is included. And we've got this pack of instant coffee. What's that look like? That is definitely a spray dried, which normally isn't that great, but we will give it a day in court. And we're just going to start out with that sugar. Coffee time. I'm looking forward to coffee time. And that creamer. And we'll make up this isotonic orange beverage. I thought that would be appropriate for breakfast. And that's supposed to get 500 mils. And we'll get the part of this ration that I'm absolutely, exceptionally excited about. It is fucking coffee time, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Nice and brown as it should be. Let's check out that cappuccino. Gonna get both of these going for breakfast. Yes, give that a little stir. That looks really thick, really brown, really dark. That's just turning me on. It's giving me a little chub in the morning. That's the best. That is just epic. It's not very creamy, so that's kind of a bummer, but you know what? We'll just have to roll with it. Now this cappuccino. That's got a nice looking foam on top of it, if I'm being honest. All right, we'll get to those granola bars and that chocolate bar in a second. We have absolutely got to get a sip of this coffee so that way I can make it through the rest of this review with some intelligible speech. And that is absolutely awesome and nice and hot. Smells pretty good for a spray dry. I'm going to have to be honest. I got to get a sip of this before I give you my final coffee judgment. And that is a very strong spray dried coffee. That's really surprising. Crazy thing about that is that it's really good. Nice acidity level. I really like that. It really needs twice the amount of cream and sugar to be excellent. So I think we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go and screw the other cup of coffee up. We're going to get another cream. We're going to get another sugar. We're going to make sure this morning cup that we get in the old face hole is as close to the way we want it to be as possible. Because starting the day out right with a really good cup of coffee, especially a cup of ration coffee, oh yes. That is an exciting proposition for this guy. It doesn't take a whole lot to get me excited, as you can see, but that first little sip of coffee certainly did wonders for my brain chemistry. I am certainly in a much better mood now, and knowing the fact this coffee actually tastes good, we definitely have more than a chub now. We are semi-erect up in this bitch. Yes, yes, and yes. A taste of that with the added cream and sugar. That's actually a pretty decent cup of coffee. It's nice and robust, slightly nutty, a nice level of acidity, just a tiny bit bitter. That's really good. It could actually use more sugar and more cream. That's a really strong instant coffee. That's excellent. I could just sit here and drink that for a while, but we've got to try this cappuccino. Check out that nice cappuccino foam on there. That's just really sexy. I mean, for an instant cappuccino, that looks really excellent. That's crazy. Let me get another sip of that before I say what I was getting ready to say. Let me get another sip or three. Hang on. The only thing I can say about that cappuccino is wow. And I mean wow. Absolutely. That is crazy. I took a few more sips of it because I didn't want to say this without really getting a good taste of it. You might not be able to tell that somebody just made that out of a little bag with some hot water. You would think that was a real cappuccino from a coffee shop. Maybe not the highest end coffee shop. Maybe that's not Starbucks or whatever foo-foo coffee shop everybody's going to get a cappuccino. But that is an excellent cappuccino, only mildly sweet, really nice creamy flavor, really excellent coffee flavor, absolutely no acidity, which is what you would expect out of a cappuccino. That is an excellent cappuccino. I just want to sit here and just chug this. It's like I just want to double fist the coffee. That is an epic start to the morning. Just those two drinks right there. All right, let's check out these Orifo brand granola bars. Over here we have the apple and we've got the cranberry. That has such an excellent smell. I can't wait to bite into those guys. Let's check out this little 25-gram chocolate bar. Who doesn't need some dark chocolate for breakfast? Apparently I did, because I was looking at all the contents of this ration and I was like, yep, to hell with it. We're having some dark chocolate for breakfast. And that's a good looking piece of dark chocolate. Now let's get this muesli out onto the tray. And that hydrated nice. And that has a little bit of a, I don't know, like a strange pre-packaged food smell that I'm not really, I don't know, just not accustomed to muesli having. Let's get it out on the tray and give it its day in court. And that's not the biggest portion of muesli I've ever seen. It certainly looks good. It's got a nice milk powder base to it. We have some oat flakes in here. We have some barley. And we have a bunch of little fruit pieces and in addition to the fruit mix that I added. So this is looking pretty healthy. I'm saying it's time to get a bite of this before we dip into the granola bars, because that might ruin my taste buds for this muesli. And I certainly don't want to do that. Let's take a look at that wholesome German muesli goodness. And that's only mildly sweet, and the milk powder actually tastes very artificial. So I think that's what's given this a little bit of a stale flavor. I don't think it's stale. The grains have a little bit of a bounce to them, which is really nice. It just has a little bit of a stale flavor, and I'm attributing that to this, what I think is like an artificial cream powder in here. This is a pretty decent muesli. I'd have to say I've had better muesli in other rations, but I certainly wouldn't turn my nose up at this in the morning. I think adding the fruit to it was a really good idea. And there's some sunflower seeds in here. That's a pretty interesting bite. One thing I can say about this muesli versus others that I've had is that all the grains are very bouncy, have a really nice chew to them. They were preserved really well in that bag. I just don't like the dairy powder that they're using with it. That has a little bit of an odd taste, but the grains themselves are absolutely amazing. Could be just a tad sweeter, but I'm gonna have to save that sugar for the coffee. You know it. As far as the texture goes, that is such a satisfying, chewy breakfast experience. Now let's try this apple granola bar. I've had a bunch of these Orifo granola bars before. That one has a little odd chemical aftertaste that I'm not accustomed to getting in any of these Orifo bars. I wonder if that's just the apple flavor. Well, let's check out the cranberry, and we'll give you a little cross section on that, guy, since I forgot on the apple. The cranberry I've had before. These are amazing. Yeah, the cranberry is absolutely awesome. None of that weird chemical aftertaste. Maybe it's just the apple or some kind of flavoring that they put in the apple granola bar. It just leaves this with a strange aftertaste. It's not bad in any way, shape, or form. Just a little bit artificial tasting. But this is just like any other granola bar. There's nothing crazy about this. It's chewy. It has oats in it. It also has rice and soy crisps in there, as well as some fruit. This one has an odd aftertaste to the fruit flavor. Let's check out some of this dried fruit just for fun. It really looks like an apple piece to me. We have some cranberry. We have a whole bunch of different fruits. We're just gonna grab a big old pile of this. It's dried fruit. I don't have to go on about it too much, but let's just smash this into the old face hole. Ooh, on its own, this dried fruit mix is extraordinarily sweet. Almost so sweet that you really can't taste the fruit flavors. It would have been way better to put all of that dried fruit in the muesli. This is just way too sweet. Let's get some of this orange isotonic to clean the palate before we get a bite of that chocolate bar. Wow, that is extremely sweet. Definitely tastes like tang Not a bad thing. Tang is pretty good, but that's exactly the flavor profile of that isotonic beverage, which is kind of cool considering it tastes exactly like Tang, but still has the salt content that you need out of an isotonic beverage. So I'd have to say, as far as isotonic beverages go, that might not be the best one I've ever had, but it does taste like Tang. It doesn't taste like an isotonic beverage, so you'll be much more likely to drink it. I mean, this coffee, though. And that cappuccino. Oh, God, I love breakfast. Actually, that's not true. I love coffee, but whatever. So let's check out this dark chocolate bar. Take a look at that. That is what we're getting ready to stick in the old face hole. I have a feeling, this being German dark chocolate, it ought to be pretty epic. That's so good. Oh, I'm so glad I had that for breakfast. That's amazing. That has that drier, almost smoky dark chocolate flavor that you would expect from a German dark chocolate. That's excellent. Just a tiny little bit of surface blooming. You can see the difference in color from the exterior to the interior of the chocolate. This is really some high quality dark chocolate, and I'm really happy that instead of giving you one big 50-gram bar, they broke it down into two 25-gram bars. That makes it much easier to have at different meals throughout the day, or even just as a snack. This is top-notch, high quality chocolate. This is amazing. Hell yes, a ration with good coffee. This is going to be an amazing day. Not only do I get to enjoy my hobby and share it with all you guys, I get to enjoy my hobby and enjoy my morning cup of coffee. This is epic. I love rations like this. The rest of the ration could kind of just be trash, but I would be pretty happy about it. Why? Because I'm sitting here with a big cheesy grin on my face, finishing off yet another cup of excellent coffee product from Germany. The only thing that I do not like about that cappuccino is that there's not another one. I'm going to finish up these granola bars, definitely going to smash that dark chocolate, and I'm going to sip on that isotonic beverage throughout the rest of the day for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll bring it back with some lunch. I'll see you guys then. Welcome back to lunch, everybody. We are definitely going to get our food on. So we have got some cookies, because you know I gotta have those cookies. We're going to have another granola bar. We have those sesame bars or sesame sticks, whatever you want to call them. We have some spicy curry pork jerky. Kind of felt like I didn't want to over curry dinner since dinner has curry in it. I figure I'd get some in for lunch as well. And we've got that beef stroganoff. I am going to also have the Zitron or lemon isotonic, as well as some of the tea extract, which makes a bitchin' cup of cold tea. This stuff is excellent. I'm not even going to bother sweetening it. I happen to like unsweetened tea, so we're definitely going to get on that. But before we do anything, we absolutely have to get this main rehydrating. So we are going to start with that. This says to add about 400 milliliters of water. And we've got some nice hot water over... Oh, messy. We got some nice hot water over here we're going to add. Let's get a look at that. Ooh, looks like a whole bunch of bouillon in there. Like, where's all the noodles? It's just looks like bouillon. I don't know. We're just going to have to rehydrate it and see what you get. Because I'll be damned if I see any noodles in there. But we're going to chuck 400 mils of water in this and see what we get. Get our trusty CR1M spoon and mix that around. I'm not really sure what they think beef stroganoff is, but I know beef stroganoff as having noodles. This kind of looks like soup, like a powdered soup. I really hope that's not the case, because my tray and soup don't do really well, or at least I don't do well with it because I make a goddamn mess. I don't know. Certainly looks questionable. We will give it some time to do its thing. We scald the fingers a little bit. Oh yeah, that's boiling ridiculous hot. Now let's make up those drinks. We are going to chuck 2 of those tea extracts in the glass. I actually got another one of these rations, and since I forgot to mention it, and I'm really sorry that I did, I got this ration from my good friend on eBay, whose name I will put right up here at the top of the screen. So you can go to eBay, you can type in that name, you can hit the enter button, his store will come up, you can buy cool rations. He's a bitchin' guy, his prices are reasonable, his rations are also inside of the continental United States. And that's important if you go back a couple of videos where I'm bitching about customs. Anyway, I had this tea in another German ration that I got from my buddy, whose name you just happen to see go across the top of the screen, and I didn't film a video on it. Why? I don't know. Maybe I was just feeling like eating a ration that day and didn't feel like putting a camera to it. I had started the channel then, so I Not really 100% sure what the hell I was thinking. All I know is I had another one of these German rations. It was a wet pack. I didn't record it for the channel. I feel kind of dumb about it. But you know what? Stuff happens. And if you happen to look on his website, guess what he has? More German rations. Imagine that. And that isotonic. Please don't hate, just hydrate. One thing you can say about this German ration is they sure as hell give you a lot of drink options, which is absolutely awesome. And having both of these drinks this way, there's almost 1 full liter of water in between these 2 drinks. That's pretty awesome. Let's get a taste of this tea. It is unsweetened, instant tea, and that's absolutely excellent. That is as close to real brewed tea as you're possibly going to get without having a tea bag. That's excellent. That could probably even use a little bit more water. It's very strong. I happen to like unsweetened iced tea, so that really works for me. You could certainly do that hot. You could have added the creamer to it if you're off your nut. You could have even put some sugar in it. It's just not necessary for me, so I'm going to leave the sugar out. And let's try that isotonic. Even though I'm not a big fan of lemonade, it's actually really good. Very tart, very lemony. Kind of a mixture between real lemon flavor and artificial. It's kind of nice. Again, with this isotonic, I don't really taste the salt content, and that's pretty amazing. If you can get an isotonic beverage or get a soldier to drink their isotonic beverage without having that salty, weird aftertaste like Gatorade does, that makes for a really great isotonic beverage. You drink it and you don't even realize you're getting superior hydration. Let's check out that pork jerky, spicy curry flavor. That actually kind of smells like ass. Like, ooh. I'm hoping the taste and the smell are really far apart from each other, because that just kind of smelled like, well, a little bag of ass, and that's just not cool. Let's open up these cookies. Let's hope the cookies don't smell like ass. That would be a super shame. Having some butt-flavored cookies. All right, what do we have here in the cookie department? Oh, look at that. They're just cute little guys. And we just have these cute little chocolate cookies. They're just little babies. You know what? But that's okay, because they really don't get broken up being this small of a size. That's kind of cool. And we'll get that apple-flavored granola bar out on the tray. And one of my favorite items, the sesame bars. Look at those guys. See, I had a sesame bar recently, and this is what I absolutely expected it to look like. It was a little bit out of date United Nations ration, and I'm really thinking that that bar that was in that ration should have looked like this, but somehow they all just got melted together. As you can see, there are 3 separate bars, and they have these snifty little ridges in the top, packed with sesame seed goodness. And just for fun, while we're waiting for that main to heat up, I do have a much older German ration I just wanted to share with you guys really quick. This is definitely an oldie but a goodie. You can see this is a much older ration. The package is a whole lot smaller, and you compare this in size to the ration we are reviewing today. This guy is a wee bit smaller, certainly a much thinner box, and this is actually way heavier, but that's not really fair because this is mainly a freeze-dried ration. I just thought it would be fun to show you guys this. I am not 100% sure that I'm even going to attempt to review this. This is a piece of ration history and a, well, potential food poisoning episode waiting to happen. But this would be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do a video on it in the future. But this is a much older, a vintage German ration. And we have our destruction sheet and all kinds of fun stuff in there. You see the soft tinned main, which has a nice little stain on top of it. You know what? Maybe one day we'll crack into this guy when I'm feeling really adventurous and the last time I got sick leaves my brain, but it's still in there. We've got some orange, probably isotonic beverage, excellent, but we will do a review on this at some point, maybe open everything up, maybe even taste a little bit of stuff. But I just wanted to show this to you guys. I figure that's a little bit of ration history for you right there. All right, well, now that we're done nerding out on the old German ration, let's get a bite of this this spicy curry pork jerky. So let's just get a big old nasty bite of that butt-flavored pork jerky. And I gotta be honest with you, that's actually really good. It smells horrible. Something about the pork jerky and the curry really smell like ass. Slightly sweet, curry flavored. It is a little bit on the tough side, but it softens up pretty good after you chew on it for a while. That smells like ass actually tastes really good. Sweet, not at all spicy, definitely a nice curry flavor. It's really good. It just smells like butts. And now let's see what the Germans think they know about beef stroganoff, which apparently they happen to think is art, because it says it right there at the end. Stroganische Schwitzen, art. Yes. So let's get this beef stroganoff out onto the tray. And that is looking like kind of nasty, if I'm being fair. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah. That looks like a bag of duty I just squeezed out onto the tray there. That is not very attractive. It does look like there's some kind of short grain rice going on in there. Maybe they substituted the rice instead of noodles. I certainly like beef stroganoff over noodles, but we'll certainly give it a day in court and we will check it out. All right, so there's not a whole lot to talk about here. We've got some extremely small grains of what looks like rice. Could even be something like quinoa, but it's very small, very short grain rice. There's also what looks like some really small pieces of beef floating around in here, and it's in this nice savory gravy sauce. That's really all I can say about it. I don't really see any seasoning floating around in here. It has a really salty, savory smell. Let's give you guys a little close-up shot of that big mess. That's just kind of messy looking. We'll see what it tastes like. Yeah, noodles would have been way better. This is extremely salty. Could really use some pepper, and we don't have any, which is a bummer. The beef didn't rehydrate very well, and I definitely put a little over 400 mils in there just to try to get everything to hydrate properly. The beef is really chewy, almost like kind of having little chunks of beef jerky in there. It's kind of a shame. They could have done a lot more with this. I think noodles would have been a much better addition. Definitely very unidimensional in flavor. It's just kind of really salty, and there's not a whole lot going on in the way of texture until you run into one of those super chewy pieces of beef. This is probably one of those things, if you had a mess cup, a really big mess cup, it would have been better to just actually boil this and slowly simmer it inside of a mess cup until it reached the desired consistency. When I do the curried rice for dinner, I'm absolutely going to add way more water than they recommend and give it a lot of extra time. It may not even be completely hot when I get to eat it, but at least it'll be rehydrated. Well, I could really use some crackers or something to go with this just to mix up the texture. And I hate to say this, because I've been really pleased with everything else I've had so far. All the other German rations I have are pretty awesome. This particular main really reminds me of a generic version of a Mountain House meal. Like if you had like a Walmart brand of Mountain House, this is what it would taste like. Let me get some of this salty drink to wash down some of this salty-ass main. That's really odd. Having eaten something really salty, it brings the salty flavor of that out. That's really odd. It still tastes sweet, but you could definitely pick up on the salt flavor for some odd reason. Maybe my taste buds are just retarded, but having this really salty main and then drinking that made that taste salty, which is really weird. You know, I usually eat everything from the beginning to the end to see if my opinion changes. My opinion is pretty much the same, and I'm about halfway through, and it's very much the same. Salty, kind of boring, need something other than rice as like the staple carbohydrate in this. Give me some damn noodles or something. The gravy would be pretty decent if you added some vegetables and some noodles to this instead of rice. The way it is right now, I don't know. Dear Germany, let me introduce you to Mountain House. We should replace this main with Mountain House chicken and dumplings. Or Mountain House beef stroganoff, but Mountain House chicken and dumplings just happens to be my favorite Mountain House meal. Well, I ate it, and quite honestly, my opinion completely didn't change. Way too unidimensional in flavor. It had texture problems. It didn't rehydrate very well. It was super salty. Could have really used some pepper and maybe take about, I don't know, a third of the salt content out of it because it just doesn't need it. That was kind of boring and bland. I'm a little upset about it. That's okay. Sometimes you win the ration lottery, and other times you get stuck with a big, salty, bland, boring main. And thankfully, aside from the jerky, everything else is pretty much sweet. So we'll grab a bite of this apple granola bar, even though we know it's going to have a chemical aftertaste. And that thing is crazy. It really does have this just crazy chemical aftertaste, almost as if the apple flavor is fake, which is a damn shame, because this would be a good granola bar if they just would have left the fake, weird apple flavoring out of it and just left it as a plain granola bar. It would have been a whole lot better than that weird-ass apple flavor that's in it. And now we're going to get a little nibble of one of these nice and sticky sesame bars. It's definitely a matter of personal preference, but I happen to really enjoy these sesame bars. They're very sweet, slightly sticky, nice and crunchy, a crazy balance of like that nutty sesame flavor and just an almost like a straight honey flavor. It's very sweet and savory all at the same time, kind of like peanut butter, but you definitely have to like sesames to be able to really get into one of these. These things are really good though. I'm going back to finish up the rest of this bar because these damn things are good. Definitely got to clean the palate after all that yummy sweet sesame goodness. Let's check out these little bitty chocolate cookies. I'm just going to get 4 or 5 of these suckers and just toss them, well, maybe 6, and just toss them right in the face hole. And those are excellent little chocolate cookies. Very mild on the chocolate flavor. It almost reminds you of a thicker, sweeter version of a kid's breakfast cereal, but in the best way. These things are really yummy. Just little teeny tiny droplets of cookies. You could pretty much just chuck a whole bunch of these in the face hole. These are really yummy. Nice and sweet, mild chocolate flavor, nice and crispy and crunchy. These are cool. These are neat little cookies. They didn't get all busted up. They actually maintained their shape. I'd say that's shitty. But I'd say this is a ration win right here. That's a yummy little crunchy cookie. These little suckers are dangerous, and it's a really good thing that these only come in a little bitty baby pouch. Because you know what we would do here in the United States? We would sell these by like the 1 or 2 or 5 pound box, and we just sit around in front of the television or at the computer watching some Ration Nerd, because that's the only good thing to watch, mind you, and just eat these by like the handful. So you'd be about 3/4 of a pound of these cookies in before you realize you just sucked down like 7 million calories. Because these little bastards are good. Okay, everybody. Well, that was lunch. Definitely mixed feelings about lunch. That main, it kind of sucked. I am going to eat that pork jerky. I'm definitely going to smash those sesame bars. I'm going to eat these little cookies as slowly as humanly possible. And I think I'm going to say, fuck that granola bar, because it just tastes like fake weird apples, and I'm not really into it. So I will see you guys back here in 3 or 4 hours. Welcome back to dinner, everybody. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit hungry, and I'm definitely really excited about this orange cream dessert. We're going to get this curried rice. We're going to have a cranberry granola bar because that's the only good granola bar in here. We're definitely going to wreck that chocolate. We're going to have that exotic isotonic beverage. We're going to save the grapefruit, well, for somebody else because I'm not a big grapefruit fan. We're also going to have a cup of coffee. And if we have enough hot water left over, maybe we'll try some of this bouillon. Not a big bouillon fan, but you know what? I'll give it a try anyway. First thing we got to do is get this main hydrating. And this is kind of like that beef stroganoff where you just don't see any rice in there. You kind of hear it, but you don't see it. It's just like yellow powder in there. And after that beef stroganoff fiasco, I'm putting all this water in there. I'm going to give it a little bit of extra time and a whole lot of extra water. And I'm just going to hope for the best. Nice little rounded gusset on the bottom. Helps not to get stuff stuck in the corners, which is awesome. And we are not going to shake this like it owes us money, because if we do, there being no Ziploc on this bag, it's going to prove that that's a really bad idea in very short order. So we're just going to give this a little shaky shake and scald our fingers like usual. See, look at this shit. Well, I guess this is an excellent time to figure out what ye old touche is about. And that's a pretty substantial napkin. If that's for wiping your ass, that's what I'm talking about. That's got some strength and durability to it. Oh yeah. Maybe that wasn't really intended as toilet paper, more as just a generalized napkin, but that's all right. That's pretty strong. It took quite a bit of force for me to tear that. Get a little cleanup crew going on over here before I have yellow stains on the ration table to blend in with all the other stains that are on this desktop. And let's get this orange cream dessert rehydrating. You know, this only calls for 100 mils of water. I really think I'm going to do this in a glass instead of doing it in the bag. It'll be better for you guys to see, and not only that, it'll be a hell of a lot easier for me to eat instead of trying to get it out of this bag. So that is exactly what we're going to do. It's my ration. I'll do what I want with it. Oh, that smells amazeballs. That's good stuff right there. there. But it really smells like an orange cake mix. Let's see if we can get this out without making a horrible mess. That's probably impossible. Didn't do too bad of a job, and not only that, all the orange powder that's floating around in the air is making the ration review area smell pretty awesome. To tempt fate, put an ounce or so of water in there, shake that around, get the remainder of that mix out. If we can pull this off, it'll be an absolute miracle. See if we can't get all that orange creamy goodness in one place. All right, let's check out that super accurate 100 mils of measuring. That looks about right. And give it a stir. We would have normally given it a shake, but you know what? I really just didn't want this to be a total mess, and I didn't want to have to go fishing around in the bottom of the bag for it. Probably would have been a whole lot easier to shake this in the bag, but without it having a Ziploc, yeah, no thanks. That doesn't really seem like it wants to mix up very well. It's still pretty chunky. I don't think shaking it in the bag would have made that much of a difference either, but you know what? We're just going to let this sit off to the side, do its thing, and rehydrate. We'll come back and stir and add water as necessary. Maybe I added too much water and we'll just be drinking it. That remains to be seen. Oh, what the heck. We might as well live a little. Let's try some bouillon to go with everything. Have a nice little hot cup of soup. Well, really just broth. It's not even soup. And we have 2 packs of sugar left that are definitely going in that coffee. No tear notches. Tell you what, they really do give you a good bit of spray dried in these German spray dried coffees. That's pretty awesome. It makes a nice strong cup of coffee. Could use a whole lot more sugar packs though. And cream for that matter. Let's not forget the cream. And that isotonic exotic. And this is going to be excellent. I've had this exotic flavor before. It's pretty awesome. Hydration time. Well, what's up with that coffee, yo? And the bouillon, I guess. That's certainly a chicken bouillon. Certainly has some nice seasonings floating around there. We're stirring him last. We're not going to contaminate our coffee or our exotic isotonic beverage with chicken flavor. No, sir. You will definitely be hydrated whether you like it or not. Again, this is over 1 liter of water we've used. That's a lot of water requirements. Hopefully German soldiers are issued and or carry this much water. Get that most excellent chocolate bar out onto the tray. Yes. And the cranberry granola bar, which I'm not at all upset about because this is the one that actually tastes good. All right, and one more thing before we take a break to give that main a lot of time to rehydrate. Let's check out these matches just because I think it's a really cool way to package them. That is just a waterproof package, and you have a big old pack of matches, and these are actually wooden matches. There's 20 of them in here. You break them off just like a traditional match. You have your striker on the front. Always close your cover before you use your striker. Blah, 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 fire safety. But they don't make it very easy. Fuck it. We're just throwing caution to the wind. That's kind of more like a birthday candle than a match, but you know what? It is nice dry tinder to get a fire started if you needed to. Not the most powerful match head on the planet, but it'll certainly work. I really do like the concept of having these matches regardless of the quality of the matches. I mean, they work, but I really do like the concept of having them inside of this waterproof container. I'm pretty positive that somebody named Ration Nerd has one of these in a get-home bag because they're waterproofed inside this little bag. Just saying. And maybe I'll open up this gum just to remind myself that I need to try the gum this time because I don't often try the gum because it's just gum. So we'll put a couple of these out on the tray to clean up the old face hole. And this is nice. It has a Ziploc bag. It's probably extraordinarily hard to see in the camera because this is all bright, shiny Mylar, but it does have a really nice stout Ziploc at the top. Keep all your gum contained so you have 10 pieces of gum for throughout the day, which is, well, that's really nice. I know we've already talked about it, but you know, I gotta get a sip of that coffee. Little coffee at dinner time, never hurt nobody. Let's try this exotic isotonic beverage. And that, just like I said, that is an excellent isotonic beverage. Again, just like all the other isotonic beverages, you can't tell there's salt in that, which makes it really easy to drink. That has an amazing flavor. It really is like a combination of like tangerine, melon, and maybe guava or something like that. It's just such a really nice, pleasantly sweet, super fruity flavor. Now we got to give our bouillon at least a tiny little day in court. Even though I'm not a big just random soup or bouillon drinker, I figured we'd give it a try. It's not something I even normally bother with in rations, but we're going to give it a little sip anyway. That's actually really good. Not overly salty, really pleasant chicken flavor. The seasoning in that is really amazing. I still stand by my thought that bouillon packs are really best used as seasoning for underwhelming mains. Most bouillon that you get is super overpoweringly salty. I only put about 3 or 4 ounces of water in this, and it turned out just fine. This is just a nice, hot bouillon drink. And for a ration reviewer that doesn't really care for items like this and just kind of leaves the bouillon sitting around or uses it to season things, this is actually pretty banging. Like, I would definitely have to think twice about just leaving it lay around in another German ration. That was actually so good, I just polished it off. All right, we're going to give that main about 5 more minutes to do its thing, as well as let this orange cream set up. We'll be right back. All right, well, we waited about 7 more minutes. Our orange cream didn't get a whole lot thicker, which is, well, that's kind of a bummer. Let's see what happened to rice and curry sauce. Ooh, that looks kind of soupy. Oh, that smells kind of... that doesn't smell great. I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's certainly very yellow. Like, take a look at that. It's almost like somebody just, like, upchucked in a bag. I hate to say it like that, but that's not very attractive. So let's hurl this out on the tray together. Oh. I guess in my quest to hydrate this properly, maybe I just put too much water in it because it's very soupy, so I guess that's my fault. But that color, and that short grain rice, just, that's not doing it for me. But let's get in here and let's see what we got. That is so not attractive. So we definitely have this odd short grained rice. Now I see the point in using that because potentially the short grained rice would rehydrate better. But this is a lot like the beef stroganoff. There's no real veggies to pick out. It's just sauce, short grain rice. And here's a big old rice ball that kind of stuck together. And then you have these teeny tiny pieces of chicken throughout. They are very small, not very noticeable. I guess the only thing left to do, well, I guess I can show you guys what this looks like on a spoon. I kind of don't want it to drip on me, which that's never a good sign when you're just like, ooh, I don't want it to touch me. I'm getting ready to put that in my mouth. There's a piece of advice for you. Never put anything in your mouth that you don't want to touch with your hand. I mean, that's a pretty smart piece of life advice, huh? Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's not very attractive. Hopefully it just tastes amazing. Crossing my fingers and toes. All right, here it goes. I mean, it's got a... I hate to say this. I'm going to need a couple more bites to even begin to describe this. Just stay for a second. I'm going to get the chocolate away from that and the granola bar away from it before it spills. And that's a really odd main. It definitely tastes like curry, but a much different curry than I'm accustomed to. So it certainly has a curry flavor, and it's extraordinarily yellow. And I don't know if it's just my brain playing tricks on me, but this actually tastes like it has mustard in it. That might be part of the yellow flavor. Maybe it has some mustard seed powder or something like that in it. It actually has a little bit of a mustard aftertaste. Like after the curry runs through your taste buds, you kind of have like a yellow mustard aftertaste. And this main sat in that bag for at least 10 to 12 minutes rehydrating. Some of the chicken is rehydrated and some of it completely isn't. I mean, that's kind of normal with most freeze-dried stuff, but it certainly isn't helping the texture of this any. The texture is just kind of, well, soupy, and that could be my fault, but I didn't go too far over 400 mils, probably about 450-ish. It just didn't suck up the water the way it should have. But the flavor of this just isn't great. It's really like a very strong but odd curry, yellow mustard, and then that's really the only flavors I'm picking up off of it. The chicken doesn't even have a flavor. The rice doesn't have any kind of flavor. It just tastes like curry and yellow mustard, which is really odd. There might be a ton of sodium in this, but it certainly doesn't taste like it. So we're going to, well, take some of my own advice, and we're going to use this chicken bouillon to try to bring this back to life and maybe make it edible, because otherwise I'm going to like get a slice of leftover pizza or something. This stuff is kind of hurting. I'm honestly not 100% sure if I'm gonna finish this main. I can eat some pretty nasty shit, like no lie. Like I've sat here and eaten some pretty, well, funky things. But there comes a point when it's not funky, it's just kind of nasty, like it's not good. But the food is just lackluster. Breakfast was great, but lunch and dinner, not all that in a bag of chips. Certainly not making the best freeze-dried mains over there in Germany, which, well, that kind of sucks. All right, we've got that soup mix stirred in there. Let's give it a bite and see if it rescued it. No, unfortunately, that just made it ultra salty, and I have no way of correcting that now. It's just not great. It wasn't great to begin with. Adding the soup mix to it, because it was freeze-dried and already probably had a high sodium content, just didn't do it any favors. I tried. That's just too much salt, too much weird curry and yellow mustard flavor in that, but I'm just done with it. I have no necessity to put this down. If I needed those calories, I would just power through it. Fortunately for me, I've got some leftover pizza in the fridge, and that's what's probably going in my face hole. We'll definitely finish off this cranberry granola bar, though. And those Orpho cranberry bars, they're excellent. And look at that chocolate sitting over there calling my name. And that's the exact same chocolate bar we had at lunch, and you know what that means? That means it's fucking excellent. That's what it means. Let's clear the palate before we get into this orange cream. So we'll do that with some nice German spray-dried coffee. That is good stuff. I'm really going to enjoy finishing that up. Our orange cream never really did thicken up, so it's kind of like an orange cream soup. Yeah, I mean, that's okay with me. So let's get a big old bite, or I guess a big old slurp of our nice orange cream soupy stuff. It did look like it took on a lot of air. It's very light and airy. It just didn't set up like I expected it to. Not 100% sure if it was supposed to set up or if it's just supposed to be kind of light and airy and creamy. Oh, it dripped in that, but it makes no difference because I'm not eating that anyway. And that's excellent. Only mildly sweet. Really nice orange citrus flavor. This is kind of like a drink at this point. Maybe I screwed that up and added too much water. Either way, it's still really yummy. And of course, it's in my beard. God damn it. We're going to have to get out another one of these touche and get the touche in action to get the orange cream off of my face carpet. That really is a nice napkin. You know what? Maybe a little coarse to wipe your butt with, but if you really needed a good coarse wiper, this is your guy right here. I'll tell you what, I think I'm just going to chug this. And this is going to be very regional to the United States, so I apologize for this explanation, but if anybody has ever been to Friendly's ice cream shop, at Friendly's, they make something called an Orange Julius. And that is exactly what this tastes like, which is pretty amazing. It's kind of like they took a Friendly's Orange Julius, freeze-dried it, and then you rehydrate it in your little pouch or in your glass like I did. Since we don't often do it, we're going to get a flavor profile on this gum. That's actually really enjoyable. And a very soft spearmint flavor. This is a really nice gum. Not overpowering, not crazy, really soft, sweet mint flavor. That's excellent. I'm definitely going to finish up that granola bar. You know I'm eating that chocolate. Drinking that coffee. Absolutely going to sip on that exotic isotonic beverage for the rest of the evening. That yellow mustard curry rice shit, that can go right in the trash can where it belongs. Well, everybody, this was a German 24-hour combat ration, Type 8. This was a lot of fun. Even though I didn't really enjoy everything in here, I will definitely say the standard German wet pack 24-hour ration is certainly a much bigger favorite with me. This certainly intended for cold climate operations, everything being freeze-dried. It is nice that this box was very light overall, but the components, especially the freeze-dried mains, one of the most important part of the ration, just kind of sucked ass. Germany definitely needs to step up their freeze-dry game, especially if you're a soldier, you need to be able to finish everything you get in the box. I would be trading that away like a boss. But as far as its intended purpose, it certainly takes care of that. And this ration, well, it'll hydrate the hell out of you because you need a lot of water to put this thing together. And it has a ton of drink options, which is always really nice. Well, everybody, if you enjoy what I do here on this channel, you know what the fuck is up. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It is always great to hear from you guys. I really appreciate you guys spending time here with me, and that's what makes this whole thing worth it, is your involvement. If it wasn't for you guys, I'd just be sitting doing this by myself and have nobody to talk to. Oh, poor sad ration here. Win. Anyway, I almost kind of wish I would have reviewed this guy instead. This old guy right here, I don't know. I'm still kind of like scratching my head at this one. Like, do I really want to get into this? You know, the big kid in me really wants to just fucking open this up and just start eating things and just kind of see what happens. That's a dangerous game of like intestinal roulette that I'm not ready to play yet. And you know what time it is. You absolutely know what time it is. If you guys can find something cooler than this German ration to put in your face hole, you know what to do. You absolutely know what to do. Eat 'em up.